Okay, welcome back to part 2. So for part 2, we're going to work on our cover, which I already started. I forgot to start the camera. So what I did is I cut the chipboard to the size. I decided to make mine the exact size of my cover, not make it, or of my album, not make it any bigger. And I also decided to not have a soft spine. I was going to have a soft spine, but I decided to make it hard. So, and I also decided to cover it with white, and then I will apply the pattern paper later. So what I did is I cut mine to 4 1/8 by 6 1/2, and then I gave myself a 1 1/4 spine, which is exactly what it needed. And then I covered it with 2 pieces of paper. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove my corners and give myself a nice little album. And the way that I remove my corners is I put my ruler on my paper at an angle, at a diagonal, and then I move it so that the edge of my ruler is 1/8 of an inch away from the corner. So that gives me just a little bit of a extra space, and then it will help it wrap better. Okay, now I'm going to start with the sides because they are shorter. Just going to use my bone folder here to help get a nice squared off edge here. Makes it look a little more finished. And especially since I'm doing it with white, I want a nice finished edge. Okay, then I'm going to take and just roll those in there a little bit. Okay, and then we're going to stick them down. I apply adhesive to the edge of the chipboard and also to the edge of my paper. Make sure that my corners are punched in there nice and finished. Okay, and there, and there, up and over. And then I like to pull them up, and I just run my bone folder right along there, and I get a nice flat squared edge there, and I really like the way that looks. Okay, and then we're going to do the longer part. And then we fold it over. Just like so. Let's get this out of the way. Seems a little bit bright, doesn't it? Let's tone it down a little bit. There we go. Alright. Now, I'm going to apply my adhesive there. And like that. And then I generally like to start in the middle there. I'm just pulling it as tight as I can to get it super tight on there. Okay, then we're going to do the same thing on the top. Fold the paper over, get a nice finished edge there, and there we go. Then smooth it out. Okay, then I'm going to stand it up and take the edge of my bone folder and square the edge of the paper there. There we have it. And now all I'm going to do is work my crease there so that it folds up really well. And there we have our book. Oh, it's a little dirty. Oh well, I'm going to cover that anyway, so it's good. Alright, now for the next step is to apply this. And just like that. Okay, so what I want to do is use a different type of adhesive here. And I recently purchased this because score tape is hard to find around here, so I thought I would try this. It's from Thermoweb. They said it was like score tape, so we'll see. Well, if I can start it even. There we go. Alright. So, what we're going to do here is apply this to our spine in a way that it covers the whole spine. And we're going to hope that it is really good tape, because you only want to use really good stuff on your spine. But besides Archivers, the closest scrapbook store to me is about an hour away. So, besides Michael's and Archivers, I go to Archivers. But I wanted to get some score tape, and no one carries it except the scrapbook stores. In my area, anyways. And I hate ordering online. I don't know why. I just don't like ordering things offline. Actually, I do know why. It's because I'm impatient. I hate waiting for things. And I hate paying shipping. Okay. So, it seems pretty sticky. It seems like pretty sticky tape. What I'm going to do is just try really hard to make sure it's attached to the tape there. And then I just need to overlap a little bit, so I'm going to have to take this off. And that one was not attached. There we go. And we'll just use a little bit more. Yeah, it's definitely sticky. It doesn't tear quite like score tape does. I have to cut it. There we go. So now I'm just going to pull this one up. And I only apply the adhesive to the hinges. I didn't apply it here yet. I just applied it to the gusset area. And then I'm going to apply this directly to my spine there. Trying really hard to make sure that it sticks and matches good. Seems to be good. I'm gonna press it in really, really well. And then we're going to try to flatten everything out. I really like my books to open as flat as possible. Okay. Last time I used this, I used a soft spine with grunge paper, but I think it'll work. So there we have our mini album, at least so far. What we want to do now is apply this down to here. Okay, and I think I may as well just go ahead and use this since I've got it out. Oh, I guess it does rip pretty good. I'm pretty sure. Oh yeah, I bought it because it was, if you bought one, then you got the second one free. So I bought two different sizes of it, and I can't remember. No, it wasn't marked. I think it must have been $3 or $4.99, but it seems like it'll do good enough. Okay, now I got that down. I'm just gonna work it into the spine a little bit and then fold up my spine here, and there we go. Now we just have to do the other side. Okay, push it down. Okay, now I'll try this one. Alright, work up the spine, and there we go. So that works out well. It looks good. It opens well, and either, it doesn't really matter what's the front or the back right now. So that's our book. Now we have the main part of our book done. We just have to cover right here. And that's pretty easy to do. But actually, I think I'm not going to cover it with, I'm not going to waste it. I'm going to cover that with pattern paper once I start covering it. Okay? So now the next step is to prepare everything else. But what you want to do is you want to cover these two parts first before you put your pocket dealies on, so that you have, because they're made smaller. I'll show you here on my finished one. See how around the edge I have, there's a pattern paper, because underneath I did it first because otherwise there would just be too much white, and I liked the contrast. I realize that it's kind of a waste of paper, but that's how I wanted it to look, so I did it. And for this one that I'm making right now, I'm using a really inexpensive paper that I bought at Walmart. It was a $5 pad. I'm making this for a little girl to take home with her when she goes back to her mom's from after a summer with her dad and my sister. And so I decided that I would just use cheaper paper because it wouldn't matter to me as much that it got dirty and grummy, because this is for a kid to play with. So that's why I got this one, and so I'm just going to use it all up, and I'm not going to worry that I'm wasting paper. So anyways, let's go ahead and start that in part 3. So we'll be back for part 3.